listening to Reality Wrap. I'm your host, Melanie. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Reality Wrap. I have Sean here with me today.
Hey everyone, how are we doing tonight?
Today we will be recapping last night's episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 4, Episode 10 already. That's amazing. I feel like we just started watching this, but 10 episodes is how many weeks?
10.
I mean, how many months?
See, the way I think is Andy gives us one episode every week.
So that's what, 2.5 months? I feel like we just started watching it.
Yes.
Anyway, just a heads up, we will not be recording next week. We have family coming in for Thanksgiving, so we will not be recording. We'll be back the following week, though. Same with all of the other podcasts for Potomac and Beverly Hills. I'm actually surprised they're showing new episodes next week. When I checked on the Bravo schedule, it shows all new episodes next week.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, you would think they wouldn't show them for the week of Thanksgiving, because really, who's going to be sitting down and watching them? I mean, maybe people will be. I don't know. So before we get into the recap, I just wanted to read you guys a tweet that LD Millionaire, who is Monica's mom, Linda, for those of you who don't know, she tweeted out last night. She just can't help herself. So last night after the episode, she tweeted, Monica has not made an on-time payment in 2 years. 2 years, not one. The first on-time payment came this year in October of 2023. I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm being maligned in the worst possible way. So I don't really know what she's talking about. When she brought the car back, she didn't say, I'm taking the car away because you weren't making payments. She took the car away because she was mad at Monica.
Exactly. And then she said, come back bearing
Gifts, yeah.
The car that Monica's paying for isn't a gift. Just
No.
like, I mean, yes, you put it in your name, but...
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, she said Monica hasn't made an on-time payment in 2 years. So Monica's making payments.
Well, let's assume LD Millionaire is not lying, because we know she has lied before. She's certainly manipulated perception. You still get a grace period, so...
Yeah, doesn't mean her credit's getting dinged.
Is she missing? It doesn't sound like she... Because I tell you, if she was missing payments, LD Millionaire would be talking about that.
Oh, yeah. She would also, if it was dinging her credit, I'm sure she would say, she's ruined my credit. But all she's just saying is that she hasn't made an on-time payment in 2 years. I don't know. She's a whack job.
And that's the thing about LD Millionaire is I don't ever have to really worry about what Monica says about her. Linda does the best job of describing what a monster she really is all by herself.
She really does, because I don't think Monica says too much about her. She just says her and her mom aren't talking anymore. She doesn't have any comebacks to her mom's
Nothing Monica
tweets.
says comes off as bad as Linda's actions.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the recap. So this episode starts with Heather planning a book signing that she's going to do in Utah or in Salt Lake City. Normally, her book signings are in very large venues. She wanted this one to be a more intimate venue, so she's setting up in like a small place thing. Lisa goes over to Whitney's again. You know, as I'm watching this, I'm like, I wonder if when they're not filming, Lisa and Whitney hang out.
Maybe. They do seem to get together a lot. They do.
Yeah, on the show.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they do when they're not filming. Whitney is still in her pajamas because this is her first night where she doesn't have an event and there's nobody at her house. And Justin is out of town, I think. Heather calls Lisa, and Lisa lets her know that she's over at her bestie's house. I was like, Whitney is not your bestie. I don't know why she said that. Heather asks Lisa to do something at her book event. Like, she asks her to sing that Away in the Manger song. It's just like, oh my God. Please don't encourage her singing. So Lisa gets off the phone with Heather and they sit down, and Whitney asks Lisa what happened the other night at her event. And she tells her how mortified she was about what happened. Lisa's like, I didn't start it. Whitney's like, it doesn't matter. All I heard was you yelling, which I'm kind of like, you knew they were filming. I mean, what event that has ever been filmed hasn't ended in like complete chaos?
Yeah, I mean, Whitney, read the room. Right?
Yeah.
Understand where you are. But Lisa, though, made that dig about it being a cash bar and there being no food. Like, that somehow justified bad behavior. Then she did apologize. But I was like, why did she do that? She always seems to deflect. Like,
oh, 100%.
When she gets blamed for something and where she does something, it's like, Well, yes, I did drive into that car, but you know what I mean? And then it was because something happened and we're all going to share the blame.
Yeah, well, Whitney tells her that she actually expected more out of Lisa because she knows what Whitney's brand is. And I was like, what the hell does that mean?
She also said, you know my journey.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
Dude, that's like people who say my truth and stuff like that.
That's my truth. It's my journey. Truth. I know. I'm like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
Lisa tells us in her talking head, oh, this is where she says that. Lisa tells us in her talking head that she should be mad at Whitney for having a cash bar and no food. I was like, who has an event where you're expected to come and buy jewelry and your drinks? I was like, oh, that's pretty lame to have a cash bar at an event where people are expected to buy your stuff.
Yeah, no, you're not supposed to charge.
No.
If you're charging for the swag, you're not supposed to charge for the food.
Yeah. Lisa tells her she's sorry for doing that, and she's like, you know, I'm really confused by Angie's relationship with Monica because I thought Angie didn't like Monica. Whitney tells Lisa that she thinks Angie placates to Lisa, and Whitney thinks that Lisa is triggered over Angie and Monica's friendship. Whitney tells us that it's hard to talk to Lisa because if you don't agree with her, she thinks that you're against her. And then Lisa starts like ranting and swearing, and one of Whitney's kids comes down to see what's going on, and Whitney asks her to stop swearing and yelling because her kids can hear. And then she starts going on and on and on about, we don't talk that way in our house. Our kids aren't used to that. She's like, okay, I'll stop. And Whitney just keeps going and going and going. I was just like, oh my God, Whitney, shut up. And I think in Lisa's talking head, she says something like, obviously she doesn't know Emily Post because I think her number one rule is to make sure your guest feels welcome. She's like, I didn't feel welcome with Whitney going on and on and on.
Well, I mean...
Again, she knew they were filming. Why wouldn't she tell the kids, stay upstairs in your room?
First off, she was on like F-bomb 3 or 4.
Yeah.
She really was dropping some F-bombs. Right, and
she does. She gets heated.
I wrote that down. Lisa was swearing in front of her kids. Mini conniption.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 words I wrote down. And then I did write Whitney drop it. I mean, because after a while I was like, who? And then the talking head flew in, you know, and like, yeah, Lisa was like, yeah, I get it. It's understood. So, but that's Whitney. You know, I mean, she's
stupid.
There you go.
I think she was purposely making it into something in case she wants to use it later on. She was swearing in front of my children. Again, you were filming. Why didn't you film somewhere else then? Film outside. Film in the basement. Film somewhere that your kids can't hear you. Or tell them not to come down the stairs.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Lisa tells her that when it comes to Angie, she just doesn't want to get lied to. Yeah, this episode was not very good for Lisa. Between this scene and then the scene at the end with her and Angie.
No, Lisa she continues this season. She's headed for the Villains reunion tour.
Yeah.
She really is.
I don't understand.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
She'd make a great villain.
We now get Heather, who's going over to Mary's house for the first time ever. And Mary gives her a tour of her house. And it is decorated so oddly. The green carpet.
Those chairs.
Oh, yeah, the chairs they sat down in.
It was like the Brady Bunch were just taking hits of acid.
Like Dr. Seuss chairs.
Crazy.
They were weird. Mary tells Heather that she wanted to have her over because she always thought they had a connection because of the spiritual element between the two of them. And I was like, then why the fuck are you so mean to her? Like, she's always mean to Heather, but somehow she feels like she has a connection to her. I'm like, wow, you have a weird way of showing people you feel connected to them.
Mary's house and her personality are kind of congruent with each other, you know, a little eclectic with a question mark.
Yeah. Mary tells us in her talking head that she's never been able to have one-on-one time with Heather because she has always been up Jen's ass. Mary asks Heather how she feels about no longer being in the church. Heather's like, you know, I really feel like I don't have a community anymore. And part of me, actually, when I was sitting here watching this, I was like, is Mary going to try to convert Heather into her church now that she knows that Heather doesn't have a church that she belongs to anymore? I'm like, I wonder if she's going to try and like bring her into her church.
I wondered the same thing, but probably not.
No. I don't even know if she preaches anymore. I know her actual church isn't open anymore.
Oh, it's not?
No, but I think it like went underground or something because of all the weird stuff that was coming out about it and the rumors that it was a cult. Unless maybe they just moved locations. I don't know. Mary brings up Heather's book and how the part that Heather wrote about Mary wasn't true. Heather's like, every part of it was true.
The part that I wrote about you?
Yes.
Every word was true.
No, it was not.
Absolutely.
No. Heather, some of that was not true, what you said, wrote about me.
Mary was equal parts elusive and forthcoming, engaging and disinterested. I agreed with anything and everything she said. And when she corrected my grammar, my pronunciation, my diet, and my physical appearance, I hung my head in shame and thanked her sincerely.
I mean, Heather wasn't wrong. She was super rude to Heather. And
Mary's rude to everyone, but she's really rude to Heather. And I think it's just Heather tolerates it.
I think you're right when she's like, I hung my head in shame after, Mary just insulted her.
Right, like somehow what Mary was saying was
true,
valid or true.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Mary is an odd bird.
Yeah, she is. Heather tells her that there were harsh words exchanged between the two of them. Mary's like what? Heather tells her, you said I looked inbred. Do you really think that? And Mary's like, I do. And I was like, wow. She's like, that hurt your feelings? And Heather's like, yeah, it implies that I'm ugly. How does she not think that calling somebody inbred or that they looked inbred would hurt their feelings?
I don't know. Mary's around a lot of people that clearly tolerate her crazy. They just do, and it's festering because that is just
it's rude. And the fact that she's like, "Oh, I'm so
say.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings," and Heather's like, "It's okay, thank you for the apology." I was like, "Wow, Heather, you are super
Heather's
forgiving."
Heather's a bit of a doormat.
Oh, big time. She just wants everybody to love her, but she's always said that. She always wants everybody to like her.
Well, that means Heather really needs to like herself better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because you don't need validation like that from other people. Just like yourself. And Heather's a great person.
Yeah.
Right? There's no need for someone of Heather's quality to take anyone lit like that or attitude the way that Mary or anyone would give it to her like that.
Yeah.
It's not fair. I hate saying it.
Mary tells her that she's proud for her writing a book. And I was like, all right. Well, so we got an apology out of Mary. Granted, it was like she apologized, but then she also said yes when Heather's like, do you think I look inbred? So it's like, I don't know how much of an apology that is, but we'll take it, right? Because we don't hear that too much from Mary. We finally get a scene with Meredith. I feel like she's been missing all season.
Yeah.
So she's talking to her podcast producer. He's trying to get her set up to record. Seth comes out and we see them recording their podcast. Meredith tells us that getting Seth focused is very hard. He was being all goofy. Was he drinking something loudly or something? I don't know what he did, but
he was doing something. It was irritating.
It was irritating, yeah. Definitely wouldn't have made on the podcast. They would have had to cut that shit out. So they're talking about their wedding and their marriage, and we find out that they have a post-nup. Because I guess at one point in their marriage, Seth was very disconnected. And when they were moving from Chicago to Utah, Meredith found out that she could lose custody of the children if Seth decided to leave her, I guess because of the state laws. So she went and got a postnup to protect her custody of the children. Seth's like, that's why you did it? He thought it was for financial reasons, I guess. Seth tells us that he always believed that it was his responsibility to provide financial stability for his family and nothing else. And when it came to the kids, when they had issues or problems, he didn't want anything to do with it. And now he regrets not being there emotionally and he apologizes for it. He actually starts to get emotional. And then all of a sudden, Meredith realizes that none of it had been recording.
Yeah.
How many times have we done shit like that?
We've been there, Seth.
Yeah.
We've been there, Seth.
We're like, oh no, it's not recording. Now we double and triple check. We're now over at Monica's house and her mom pulls into the driveway. Monica tells her oldest daughter that she doesn't want her mom to come inside, so she goes outside and she tells her daughter to lock the door. That's pretty interesting that she doesn't even want her mom in the house.
First off, I thought she was called Bobo.
I know, you're like, Bobo. I was like, no, it's Bobo.
It's Vobo?
Vovo.
Vovo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she comes pulling up with the car that kind of she owns, Monica owns, bearing gifts. And the gifts is apparently this manipulation tool that is the car. So it's not a gift. It's
Yeah, she's like, I was just trying to get your attention. That's why she took the car away. So right there, she doesn't say, I took the car away because you were missing payments or you were late on payments.
No, I was trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
Or I was trying to manipulate the situation. You weren't doing something I liked, and so I'm going to do something in return. And then I'm going to say, well, I just wanted to get your attention. Right? And that's what she does, is she wraps up her actions in these funny little packages.
Yeah,
It makes it
she's
a lot
holding the
more
car
harmless.
over Monica's head.
Right.
Monica needs to get rid of it and get
Well, but Monica's out running getting facial injections.
Yeah, on credit.
Yeah.
Linda tells Monica that she was serious about them going to therapy and asks Monica if they can go together. Monica's like, I don't know. I have to think about it because we've tried therapy before and it didn't work. Linda's like, our dysfunction goes deep in the family. It's so far back and maybe you and I can break the cycle. And I was like, okay, like that's a positive thing to say, but then at the same time,
It's
I'm
bullshit.
like, is she manipulating her?
Yeah, it's bullshit, because then Monica goes on to say how she lies in front of the therapist and puts on this good behavior act, which is exactly what she did at Angie's house when she said, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Right? She put on the good behavior act and she apologized to Angie for Monica's behavior, and when in fact, she was the reason why Monica was losing her mind. And so the best thing for Monica, and I've had people like this in my life, and you just got to get away from them.
Yeah, cut them out for good.
Cut them out.
Well, I mean, look what she's doing still to this day.
I'll see you at the funeral.
Yeah. Monica tells Linda that she better get to walking because it's cold outside. And Linda's like, are you kidding me? You're not going to drive me? And Monica's like, no.
Oh, yeah. Props to Monica on this one.
Yeah. I wonder how far her mom lives, too.
No, probably half mile.
Yeah, it's probably a couple blocks.
Yeah, they're probably in the same development or something like that.
I think she thought she'd bring the car home and, Monica would be super grateful or whatever. But what's funny is her mom got out of the car. She had a mic on and everything. So she knew that was totally planned.
Yes.
In her fake
Mom drove up
Burberry
all
outfit.
mic'd up.
Yeah, yeah. It's now the day of Heather's book signing. Lisa arrives first because she's there to perform her song. Angie arrives and we find out that Angie has not heard from Lisa since the Prism event, and usually they talk multiple times a day. Monica arrives next and she orders a drink, but she asks for something without Vita tequila, so he offers her Vita vodka. I was like, okay. Monica finds Meredith and tells Meredith what happened at the Prism event and how Lisa said that nobody wanted to be her mother. Monica tells her that she's not going to react to Lisa. Meredith tells her that if you could give a response instead of a reaction, that would be better. And she's like, well, that sounds healthy, so that's probably not going to happen.
That was
and
funny.
Meredith's like, oh my gosh, she started laughing.
That was funny.
Lisa comes out, she thanks everybody for coming and sings her version of Away in a Manger, and literally everybody was just looking at her like, what is going on?
Meredith, though, just before you jump into Lisa's singing with a question mark, Meredith was once again slurring. I wrote it down.
Yes, that was she was really slurring in that
She
scene.
was really slurring.
Yeah.
There.
So during her song, when she's singing Away in a Manger, Lisa then says, I'm bored of this song, and calls Heather out. Heather comes out, and they have a whole choir. Lisa then starts rapping, which I don't even know. That might have been worse than the Away in a Manger song she was singing. It was all bad.
It
I
was
was
so
like,
bad.
oh my God.
It was all bad.
Angie and Monica are sitting together, and they're like, what? And I think Monica even says, I want my money back or something
That was
like
hilarious.
that. Yeah.
I'm with you, Monica. I wanted my money back, too.
Yeah. Heather reads a passage of her book where she ran into a missionary and how she felt this connection to him. And it was super heartwarming. And I'm going to be honest, after I was listening to her read this passage, I was like, I think I'm going to buy her audiobook and listen to it.
Yeah, I too thought the story was really good. I'm not going to buy the book, but I will ask you how you felt about it after you've read
You'll
the
ask
book.
me for a review?
A very quick and brief review, yes.
Monica tells us that after hearing Heather read her book, it made her realize that she and Heather have so many similarities. And I guess when she was younger, they used to invite missionaries over to her house for dinner, and they would feed them dinner, and it was like having big brothers come into the house, and how it was really a special moment for her. And I'm like, oh, that's nice that she has something positive, at least, that she remembers from her childhood. Heather tells us that she wants to keep writing books because she realizes that she's touched so many people and that connecting with these people has replaced the community that she used to have with the church. We then see Heather and Lisa sitting down and they're having a conversation, and Heather tells Lisa that she wants to be validated that there are rules that only exist for some people and other people don't have to follow them. And Lisa's like, it took you all this time to get to that point. And Lisa's like, yeah, I do think that there are certain people that are held to a different set of rules, especially if you're actually from Utah. Lisa tells Heather she thinks that because Heather was raised in Utah, she's held to a different set of standards that she and her kids don't have to follow. And she's like, I didn't raise my kids to have to follow those rules. And I was like, well, how come you don't have to raise your kids to follow those rules? Yet her son is kind of walking down that path. It's interesting. But he chose those rules for himself.
But maybe it's rebellion.
Yeah, he decided to go on a mission.
And by the way, I don't think John...
I was going to say, did John not have a say in...
I think John actually did have a say, more so than probably Lisa's either understanding or letting on, because I think John seems to be more traditional.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
He's allowed to go into the temple.
Oh, wait. Lisa's not allowed to go into the temple?
No, or she chooses not to go, remember?
Wait a minute. She chooses not to go?
Well, she says that she doesn't feel worthy of it or something like that because she drinks too much Diet Coke.
But she wears a sleeveless dress.
Yeah, but that's a different church. It's not the actual, big temple. John goes into the temple, which means he has to put the garments on. I doubt Lisa even owns a pair of garments.
I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Yeah. Heather tells her that she needs to be more open to Lisa's experience with the church. So it was nice to see these two kind of figure out the whole Mormon thing between the two of them. They're both open to...
I really like how Lisa and Heather, they do work to just accept each other.
Yeah.
And because there's a good friendship there, and I think
so
that,
too.
Yeah. I just love Heather, though. I wish I lived next to Heather. She'd be great.
You wish she was your neighbor?
Oh, she'd be the best.
We now see Monica, Angie, and Meredith, and they're all talking. Monica asks Angie and Meredith if they had talked yet, and they're both like, no, we haven't. And she's kind of like, oh, okay. So Angie starts telling Meredith that, it really hurt my feelings that you said you could ruin my family. Meredith's like, yeah, but I didn't. And Angie's like, well, you really couldn't. Meredith tells her that she's sorry for hurting her feelings and asks Angie what else you'd like from me. And Angie's like, nothing. So Meredith tells her, all right, well, let's move on. And with that, I'm going to move on. She leaves.
Yeah, you're not going to fix their issue in one conversation. Yeah. I think that was progress.
Yeah, at least they talked.
I mean, at the end of the day, Meredith said, what else do you want me to do?
Yeah, what else do you want?
I'm at your mercy. What do you want me to do? Let's just get the slate clean. And that's all you're going to get from someone like Meredith, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot, too. I mean, it's a lot. It's all you really should get from anyone. So, and I think Angie was like, nothing, we're good. She ended it. And I think that's that. And now, let's just see.
Yeah. Heather's girls come up to her and give her a hug. Heather tells them that she's going to write her second book and wants to make sure the girls are really okay with it. One of her daughters says, yeah, I'm totally fine with it as long as you're doing it from a healing perspective and not doing it to get back at the church. We're now over at Lisa's house and she is preparing to have Angie over so they can talk. And it's so funny because she's getting she has muffins and croissants, and then she has strawberries in their package, and she has this little spoon that she's scooping these strawberries out. And I was like, why doesn't she just pick them out? A, and B, I didn't see her wash them. And strawberries are dirty. You're supposed to wash strawberries.
So if you're going to take the time to use a spoon, take the time to wash the strawberries.
Yeah, but she was spooning one strawberry out at a time. It was so funny. You could tell she does not
I'm fine with that. If that's what she wants to do, that's fine. I really thought the miss, though, was when she was listing out the food and she went with a croissant or whatever. I was like, no, she said chocolate chip muffins. I always go for the chocolate chip muffins. Those are good.
Well, Angie chose the croissant.
I know. Angie, she blew it.
I don't know. Croissants are good. If
not as good as a chocolate chip muffin. You people are insane.
I'm like, I can't believe either of them eat that stuff because they are both so skinny.
I mean...
Maybe that was for the day. That's what they ate.
No. I mean, how many calories do you think is in...
Those chocolate chip muffins are easily 600 or 800 calories.
So that's just it. When you get a muffin, you break it in half. then you're going to pick the half you broke, and then you don't even finish that. So now we're looking at about 300 to 500 calories.
I guess. I was shocked. Anyway, so Angie arrives and they sit down. Lisa asks her what's been going on. Angie's like, well, I've just been trying to gather my thoughts after the Prism event. Angie tells Lisa that she feels like Lisa thinks that she's taking Monica's side. Lisa's like, I don't think that at all. You told me that you don't like her and that you didn't want a relationship with her, and the optic doesn't match the conversation.
I was really proud of her because she got it right that time. Earlier in the episode when she was talking to Whitney, she referred to it as the ocular doesn't match the words. And it is the optics, not the ocular.
I wonder why she keeps using that saying.
The optics?
Yeah, the optic doesn't match the conversation.
I do that where I grab a new phrase and I overuse
And you
it
just
for
use
a
it
couple
all the
days.
time?
Yeah, until you correct me.
I've never heard that. The optic
Maybe she just
doesn't
picked it
match
up.
the visual. I think she said something like the ocular doesn't match the
first
visual
time,
or
yeah,
something.
the ocular. Yeah. So like she's probably just learning how to use it.
She went home and practiced.
I've done that, but I'm not a TV star, right?
She's not a TV star. She's a reality TV star.
No, still
In her own head, she's a mighty star.
She's more star than me.
Angie tells Lisa that she met with Monica after Easter and they cleared the air and that they're going to move forward. Lisa tells her, I didn't know any of that. And Angie tells her, well, I was hesitant to be clear with you. She's like, why? Angie says, after seeing your reaction when I went to Heather's house to paint birdhouses, I was a little worried about triggering you because it seemed like it triggered you. And Lisa tells her that being afraid to tell her stuff is not her problem. That's pretty much on you. And how do you think it makes me feel when my friends are hiding things from me when I tell you exactly how I feel? So if you aren't honest with me, that's on you. Which I was kind of like, okay, I kind of get what she's saying. But at the same time, Angie had developed, she was worried about telling her because of the way that Lisa has reacted in the past.
Well, we're on episode 10, and Lisa has been aggressive several times in reaction to numerous situations on limos, at parties, during bowl ceremonies. Supposed to be quiet at a place like that, actually.
Yeah.
Right? She's screaming with Monica.
Yeah, the sound bath.
So it doesn't matter who's fighting. If you look at this season, everyone had a fight this season, but it was always someone kind of in the middle of the fights. And it's been my dear, dear Lisa. Like I said, she's having a tough year.
Angie tells her that she's going to be cordial with Monica, but keep her at a distance. Lisa tells Angie, I'll never feel like you're not my friend if you're friends with somebody else. And basically says something like, I'm not a 5-year-old. And I was like, well, you did get triggered about Angie and Heather making up.
Also, when she saw Angie and Monica hugging at the Prism event, she was like, with Whitney, look at that, So she actually did kind of get upset by
seeing them hug. Yeah.
But maybe to your point, because they were just fighting. So she was, she had a lot of energy still, and who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely was triggered last week. She gets triggered pretty easy. So Angie apologizes to her and they seem to be good. Next week, Heather tells Monica that they should go to Bermuda for her birthday. And then it looks like Monica goes after Lisa again. I don't know where they were, but they were all wearing like weird pilgrim bonnets. They all had on these.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like this week was a setup episode because once again, the trailer for next week was as good or better than the episode.
Yeah.
This was a good episode, right? Don't get me wrong. I thought the episode was fine, but it just...
It was kind of a filler episode, but we had to kind of see the fallout after the different events.
I mean, episode 9, my hand hurt with all the notes I had.
Yeah. There was a lot of conversations last episode.
Yeah, they're crazy conversations.
Yeah. Anyways, that is all we have for you this week. Don't forget, we will not be recording next week. We'll be back the following week, and we will be back tomorrow for our recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.